Today, questions for local police as we learn more about the timeline of Tuesday's tragedy in Texas. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. 19 young students and 2 teachers murdered by a gunman who had barricaded himself in their classroom and opened fire. Witnesses are now saying they were urging police to go inside Robb Elementary School. And the timeline is becoming clearer that the shooter may have been inside that classroom some 40 minutes from the time he opened fire to when the tactical team shot him. Governor Greg Abbott also addressed the shooter's chilling Facebook posts before the shooting.
The only information that was known in advance was posted by the gunman on Facebook. The first post was, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post was, "I shot my grandmother." The third post was, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school."
And this frightening image shows just how close the agent came to getting a bullet through the head with a round of ammunition ripping a hole through the fabric and injuring his scalp. Bill Melugin is in Uvalde. Bill, a lot of questions today about that timeline.
Yeah, Harris, good morning to you. There certainly are. And real quickly, I'd like to show you the front page of the local newspaper here in Uvalde this morning. This is the Uvalde Leader News. As you can see, there is no headline and the entire page is blacked out except for the date of the mass shooting, May 24th. But as you mentioned, there are fresh questions about the law enforcement timeline here when it comes to this shooting, as there are now new videos circulating on social media claiming to show parents getting angry at police officers and urging them to go into the school. Here's part of those videos. Take a look. Now, here's the thing about those videos. Here's the thing about those videos. We do not know when this clip was recorded. We don't know if the shooter was already dead. We do not hear any gunshots in the video. We don't know if these are just officers trying to set up a perimeter outside and there's a team inside waiting to breach. Keep in mind, Texas DPS told us initially yesterday there was a school police officer who engaged the shooter once he got on campus. We were initially told he exchanged gunfire. They later said it turned into an encounter, so we're waiting for more information on that. We do know eventually, though, that other officers showed up and were shot at, and eventually that BORTAC agent went in with a tactical team and took the shooter down. And as you mentioned off the top, Harris, we can pull up this photo right here, a CBP source sending it to me, telling me this is the hat that BORTAC agent was wearing when he breached the classroom and engaged the shooter directly, shooting and killing him. He suffered a graze wound to his head, the bullet barely missing his head or just scraping it, millimeters away from death there. I'm told he has staples in his scalp now, non-life-threatening injury, but just goes to show how close that agent was to losing his own life. Also want to show you this brand new video we got into our newsroom this morning of an officer walking a girl out of the school who appears to have blood-stained clothes that she is carrying, as well as blood on her legs. Unclear who that blood belonged to, but that little girl very clearly upset, traumatized, and that officer whisking her away from the scene. And it does appear there were parents there who witnessed that as well. Last night, Fox News spoke with the teacher who works at the school. Listen to how emotional she got as she described how close the shooter got to her own class.
He passed my classroom door. My kids were so scared. I got in front of them because I had to protect my children.
And Harris, there's been a lot of reporting out there regarding the potential for the gunman to be in that classroom maybe 40 minutes, maybe up to an hour. That is something we are trying to work out with our sources. What I'm told by Texas DPS is right now they are interviewing or are about to interview that first school police officer who had the encounter with the gunman. Once they finish that interview with him and get more details, I'm told they will have a clearer picture on what the whole timeline is, but certainly more questions raised today about that law enforcement response. We'll send it back to you.
All right. And as you've just told us, and we'll get into it this hour too, we will wait for the facts. And that interview with that first police officer is so important. Thank you, Bill, very much. Of course, the community of Uvalde, the entire nation and beyond, in mourning. The New York Post dedicating its cover today to the 19 little children killed in that act of pure evil, the youngest of those students just 8 years old. Families now making funeral arrangements, and officials say all of their little bodies will be returned to their loved ones by today or tomorrow. And we're also remembering the two teachers who died. Eva Morales and Irma Garcia are being hailed as heroes. Officials are still releasing details, but relatives tell news outlets the women died trying to shield their students from the shooter. Pete Hegseth, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, is on the mez here in Focus with me. These stories, day by day, will divide us in terms of our emotions. Of course, there were heroes, but our hearts are so broken, Pete.
Absolutely. We have to have clarity about the evil aspect of this, which is the coward who went and targeted elementary kids, right? So we're going to want, the timeline never moves as quickly as our news cycle, and we want to know who could have known. The people around this shooter, the grandparents, the parents, the friends, the people he connected with on social media. What signals did he make? Yes, he posted on social media, but it was likely private messages. So how quickly can you actually get access to those? And then you turn to the law enforcement response. And we covered it all this morning on Fox and Friends. And it's not clear we have our arms really at all around what the timeline really was. So
we don't.
If the first shots occurred when he crashes his truck into the ravine outside the school and he engages with the resource officer there, if that's when the clock starts, how much time took him to get in the school? The other local police, apparently there were reports that 2 other local police went in and engaged him initially. They were shot. Is that when he went into a classroom? Did they decide to treat it as an active shooter situation or a hostage situation, which are going to have slightly different protocols, but both in this scenario predicated on speed with a school based on what we've learned in the past. You want to get in as fast as possible. But you also have 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and 10-year-olds in that classroom. You can't use the kind of aggressive tactics you might outside the door for fear of injuring or killing more young kids who are in that classroom.
Well, and that's always
So
the
there's a
case
lot of risk involved.
when you think that there might be hostages. But you're right, the very tenderness of their age. And what protocols were missed, by the way? The school was supposed to be on lockdown.
Well,
There was a door that was unlocked that this killer went through.
How
I
did
mean,
he get-
I just want to know really the basics once he left his grandmother's house, too. There is a bit of a timeline that's coming into clearer focus. And you're right. I mean, you heard Bill Melugin just reporting. Well, was it 40 minutes or 60 minutes? You know, was it 40 minutes or an hour? So this is still, but this is what the Texas Department of Public Safety director said about the timeline. Let's watch.
He went down a hallway, turned right, then turned left, and there was 2 classrooms that were adjoining, and that's where the carnage began. As he was shooting, it's going to be within a minute, like 40 minutes or something, within an hour. But bottom line is that law enforcement was there. They did engage immediately. They did contain him in the classroom.
I can relate to the fog of gathering information in that situation. So the shots fired somehow gets into the school, which is a whole other question. That could be 10, 15 minutes before they identify he's actually in the school. Where is he in the school? Once you then find him there, how do you get into the classroom? You know, we fortify these classrooms, rightfully so, to make sure that shooters can't get inside them when you have an active shooter drill. That also means it's really difficult for law enforcement to get inside them. Reports are they had to find the key for that classroom in order to get in because they couldn't force their way in. Maybe that means that door is fortified as other school shooter protocols had required in certain places.
Right.
So you can't just blow your way in the door. Plus, you have kids behind that door. Yeah. You may not want to send a rank-and-file police officer in there who isn't as trained in SWAT-like tactics. So you wait for the guys with the shields because you're not sending someone in to just be a recipient of bullets. It sounds like, based on what we've heard, they went in with a shield first on a stack, which means the first guy's absorbing the bullets coming in, allowing the second and third member of that tactical team to roll off right or left and engage the shooter. So I'm defaulting to support of the investment and courage of our law enforcement, knowing everything can always happen faster when you've got young souls trapped in a classroom. But I got to believe they wanted to do the best they could. Let's find out the timeline. And remember, This is sheer evil, and we pray for the families right now.
So well put. And your tactical experience, having been in the military, really helped us out there, too. Because, you know, my initial question still stands. Why was there an unlocked door during a lockdown?
Great question.
And it doesn't matter at that point who shows up when, if that fortified door is secured, because it's got to be more difficult.
And when you
we
say
know he would have known that because his grandmother worked there as late as 2020.
He may have surveilled it as well. The house was not far from the school.
Yeah. Pete, thank you.
Thank you.
Always thank you for your service, but applying it in this sense is
Same
such
to
a
these
blessing.
guys out there in Texas.
Absolutely.